Howdy, folks. Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how it works for the uninitiated. I'll take that from you. That is my hand. Read my fortune. Back again for another Wayhomer. Here's how it works. I've just left the cinema. It's over there, where I've seen a film, and I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home. And today we're here to talk about The Iceman. I look like my hair's doing a Gumby thing. What's that about? Anyway, it's still doing it. It's a weird angle. All right, so The Iceman. Yes, I'm still on my iPhone because we have no camera. The Iceman. All right, so synopsis. So you have Richard Kuklinski, who is was an interesting character, and despite not really caring about anything or anyone in the world, decides to become a family man. And because he is a family man and wants to care for his family, is trying to make ends meet, trying to get ahead in the world. So he does, what I think a reasonable person would do in that scenario, in that he uses his ability to not care about human life to his advantage and becomes a hitman. And then goes about killing people for money, which is generally what hitmen do. However, when you're doing that sort of life and you're in that sort of profession, there's a certain amount of, risk that goes along with it, especially if you're a family man, and especially if people know you're a family man. And so things just get more complicated from there as time goes on. And also getting complicated, because this starts off in the 60s and moves through the 70s, are fashion. Fashion gets very complicated as well. So there's your synopsis. Okay. So I remember there was a biography written about Kuklinski, which I believe is called The Iceman. But it's basically, I heard the author of the biography on Art Bell a couple of times, and it was an absolutely fascinating story. Hearing him talk about it, because he actually, of course, went and met with Kuklinski and had done a series of interviews with him in order to write the book. And so remembering that, and then seeing The Iceman with Michael Shannon coming soon, I'm like, oh my God, is that the Kuklinski story? And turns out it was, because really, if you think about cold-blooded killer, who better than Michael Shannon in this day and age, who is sort of like kind of like if you, he's sort of a quirky, sort of evil kind of actor, in that he's kind of like Christopher Walken, but without the halting speech. And I say that with all due respect to both actors, mostly because I like them both, and mostly because, even though I'm sure they're really nice people, I don't want to die. So, but no, when I heard, I was like, that's perfect casting. And I was interested to see what the story was. And of course, the story takes you through basically how he got, involved with his wife, and then got into the business, and then what eventually happened to him. And I will say, beyond just Michael Shannon, who gives a really great performance, in that it's very, I won't say easy, but it can be, let's say, very one note, to be just a sociopath who doesn't care about anyone and just wants to get angry and kill things. Like I said, not necessarily easy, but just not necessarily something that you want to, that can carry an entire film. But he actually does bring a lot to the role, in that there's more going on than that. You can see somebody struggling with who he is / supposed to be / was supposed to turn out to be. So he's excellent. Also excellent is Winona Ryder, who, at first you go, is that Winona Ryder? And then, yes, of course it is. Playing the wife, who is, I mean, again, you forget that it's her, which is really good, and she sort of just disappears into the role, and she's doing quite well for herself. Speaking of disappearing into the role, human chameleon Chris Evans does an amazing job, where if you blink, you'll miss the fact that it's like, is that Captain America? Yes, that's Captain America playing Mr. Freezy. So it's so a lot of really great performances. Ray Liotta, David Schwimmer, Robert Davi, I think it's Davi. Davey just sounds weird, but I can't pronounce anything. But yeah, a really excellent cast involved. And that's the film's strong point. Now, my thing about a biopic, basically, is that I want to learn something about the person that the biopic is about. I'm trying to keep this from shaking too much, because I am not a shock absorber. You know what I mean? I mean, there are the events that happened, right? Person A went to place B and shot person C in D face. I mean, that sort of thing. The ABCD of it, so to speak, plus guns. That happened. The factual things happened. And that's all well and good. And, I mean, you have to have that in there, obviously. But if I'm going to spend a lot of time with somebody, watching them in a biopic, I want to know a little bit more about why they are. You know what I mean? And things just sort of happen in The Iceman. And you do have a nice cameo from Stephen Dorff as his brother, who does say some things that, feel like throwaway lines in that, oh, here's this thing that you used to do, and, you should be in prison, and da-da-da. And that's all well and good, but I'm like, well, I never felt like that was enough backstory. I mean, it almost felt like they saw an early cut of the film and went, wow, there's no backstory in here. Let's put in this one scene so that we can actually have some backstory. And it felt sort of, I don't know about stapled in, but it just didn't feel like it fit with the rest of the film. The rest of the film, which was an ABCD type of factual progression of events. And really, until things start to go awry for Mr. Kuklinski, it almost feels like a series of vignettes just taking place at particular points in his life to get you to where, things can start to go south. So it just feels disconnected, and I don't know. If it weren't for the really excellent performances, there would be absolutely nothing to engage you. Now, obviously, you could have the best story in the world, and if it's poorly acted, you won't be engaged either. But you have to have the acting first, and then you have to have the material for them to act with after that. And that's what I felt was lacking, is that I really wanted to understand what made him tick, And I don't need it spelled out to me. I don't need, an entire hour-long backstory, but I need a little bit more than like a flashback and a scene with a brother to kind of understand why this guy is the way he is, and won't flinch when you put a gun in his face, and doesn't mind killing people for fun and profit. So, I mean, that to me is the weak part of the film, in that it's a lot of biopics and that it doesn't really delve like I want it to. Because really, if beyond that, you could probably just go and read the book, and you would get more out of it. Well, I mean, it's a book, so you'd get more out of it anyway. But you know what I'm saying? You would get more delving going on, but without the great acting. And I kind of want it all, but I'm greedy like that. So I mean, that is the thing that I feel is lacking from The Iceman, that makes it from becoming a really great biopic, and instead it's just a vehicle for really good performances. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because we like really great performances. So, that being said, I would say for rating-wise, you would get... Oh dear. Rating-wise, I'm thinking 3 cups, based on the performances alone. Bolsters it up above the average. As far as should you see it, you should probably see it, but it's not really a big screen film. You will lose nothing on the small screen. There's no, crazy action sequences. It's not in 3D. It's just, that would be amusing, wouldn't it? The Iceman 3D. In 20 years, they'll reissue it. That'll be crazy. In IMAX. But no, I think you'll be fine waiting for Blu-ray. It'll be out in 3 months' time, and it'll be worth watching. If you'll excuse me, we're trying not to kill a person on a bike. I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm amused by this person who's so busy listening to his tunes while riding his bicycle that he really wants to go into our wheel well. That was amusing. But anyway, so yes, I would say 3 out of 5, wait for video, but do catch it at some point, because, it'll be a nice fix for, to carry you for your Michael Shannon fix between Man of Steel being over and until Boardwalk Empire starts back up again. So there you go. So yes, Wayhomer for the Iceman. Done. Thanks so much for watching these, and bearing with us as we try to figure out how to film this face, which is always a trial. If you do enjoy these things, please, tell someone you know, or tell someone you don't know. We honestly don't care. You can share it through Facebook, Twitter, share it to YouTube, whatever, anything that you do. Flipboard. There's only about 15,000 different ways that you can tell someone that you enjoy these. We say pick 2 at random and do them. And as always, if you do appreciate these things, and thanks to those of you that do, you can go to needcoffee.com/support and throw a couple coins in the till, which helps pay for things like the gas that our various cars expend to get to and from the cinema, and the cinema tickets themselves, which we pay for out of pocket. So thanks so much for that. And really, if you think about it, we're not wasting the gas because we're using that. We're using this time wisely and multitasking by actually recording the video here. And we pass those savings on to you. So until next time, this is Widget Wall saying thanks so much for watching, and bye.